RosterWatch Nation, what is up? Welcome back. I am Cody Carpentier. You can find me on X at Cody Carpentier. And today we're back with another 2024 rookie spotlight. This time, though, we're going back to wide receiver one last time, at least, to talk about a very high-end prospect, Malik Nabers, wide receiver, LSU. If you've been on the social media the last week, aka Twitter or X, you would see conversations being had about Malik Nabers, Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison. I posed the question on Twitter. I basically said, why is Malik Nabers not getting the respect that he should be? Because right now it feels like everybody out there in social media land is just going with groupthink saying Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver one. Now, this isn't meant to be a hot take at all because it's not. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to be a very successful wide receiver. I like both of these guys a lot. They're both very different wide receivers. Malik Nabers from LSU, Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. My problem is that people are not giving Malik Nabers his due for the position he's in. He's currently being mocked inside the top 5 continually. Having wide receivers mocked inside the top 5 is not it's not something that happens all the time. Larry Fitzgerald, Jamar Chase, Waddle was like pick 6. Just because Marvin Harrison's projected as pick 2 or pick 3, we need to understand that having Malik Nabers also right there in that conversation, even Rome Odunze to another extent, is massive. And what Malik Nabers brings to the table, we're going to talk about right now, but at 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, that's the archetype. When you go and look at finishes, I mean, you can talk about from the NFL, from the fantasy side of it, it lines up both ways. The last 10 years, what the position has turned into. The position is not 6'4", 225. We're not looking for these big, they're great when they happen. Mike Evanses, DK Metcalfs, things of that nature. Randy Moss, 6'4", 200 pounds. Things of that nature. Amazing. But the players that are succeeding to the highest level, the Amon-Ra St. Browns, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons, that's just the last couple of years. You could name 10 more. They're around 6 foot tall, 6'1", 5'11". They're around 200 pounds, 195 to 205. And Malik Nabers fits that archetype while being young. He plays very similar to a Stephon Diggs. I was talking to Alex. He pulled a Torrey Holt from The Greatest Show on Turf, the Rams. I was talking to Ray GQ. He talked about Isaac Bruce from the same offense. He broke out at 19 years old. I see him running the 4.44 area. Some people think he runs a little bit faster. He's 21. He'll be 21, I should say, in a few months. So he's going to play his rookie season at 21 years old. But he was dominant. 42% of the touchdowns at LSU, whilst having Brian Thomas there, who caught 17 himself. 36% of the receiving yards, 31% of the receptions. He's out of Louisiana, stayed home, goes to LSU. A 4-star prospect in 2021. Malik Nabers is an elite prospect. And even on that tweet that went a little viral, one of the people that I respect the most in the draft space commented, Lance Zierlein, saying he has Malik Nabers, wide receiver 1, but the grade is 0.01 higher than Marvin Harrison. It's like, I believe he said 6.84 to 6.83. So like I'm just saying, it's not about being hot takey and putting Malik Nabers number 1. It's about getting out of groupthink and understanding that more than one guy can be elite, and that I believe the hit rate for Malik Nabers for what he brings to the table and his archetype is a larger opportunity to hit at the NFL level than it does at Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, again, saying that sounds terrible because everyone's like, Marvin Harrison Jr., he's got the name. He's 6'4", 205. He's been dominant. I get that. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to be wildly successful unless he gets nuked with a landing spot with no quarterback. That's a different conversation, but we're here talking about the prospect. Both of these dudes are phenomenal. Both of these dudes would be the first two receivers drafted last year, and they'd be in an argument the year before. They'd be the best wide receivers next year. They're hyper talented. Now, Malik Nabers, elite acceleration and change of direction at the catch point. Elite. I think his route running is Stephon Diggs / Odell Beckham-esque. His play speed is more similar to a Jamar Chase. I've talked about Rome Odunze before. I think Rome Odunze has a play style similar to Jamar Chase, but he doesn't have the same game speed. Nabers does. he has different nuances from literally all the LSU receivers. His routes are similar to Odell Beckham. His catch point and his route running at the top is that of Justin Jefferson. His play speed is that of Jamar Chase. Malik Nabers is top notch, 3.64 yards per route run, number one in college football last year. 70 of 89 receptions went for first downs or touchdowns last year. Freshman All-SEC, 2023 All-American. I do think at times when progressions break down, he will sometimes a lot of receivers that we'll look for in later rounds specifically will be guys that are very good coming back to the quarterback, finding open spaces for that quarterback. Maybe if he's out of pocket and he's running, that receiver's going to work back. Sometimes Malik Nabers doesn't work back to the quarterback, but that's like a very small thing. Again, it's like the same thing. It's sometimes he lacks the fortitude, but it comes and it goes with these receivers. Those are just some of those things. It's I don't want to say it's a prima donna diva thing, but it is, and we've seen it in everybody has it. All these receivers have it. It's just the nature of the game. Some situations I'd love to see him land in. Of course, the Chargers are there at 5. I think the Arizona Cardinals are very interesting at 4. You'd love those spots. You would hate him to be in. I would say if he fell to a Vegas or Vegas traded up, I would say New York Giants at 9 would be a horrendous spot for him to be in, even though it's perceived that, he'd be the number 1. Of course he would be, but the quarterback he's got thrown to him is Daniel Jones. And in that offense, I don't love that in itself. When you're talking about dynasty, I think right now he's in dynasty top 12 conversations, probably around wide receiver 8, 9. We've talked about Marvin Harrison being wide receiver 5, 6. I think Malik is right there, 7, 8, 9 in that same conversation. Malik Nabers is an elite prospect. 161 receptions, 2,586 receiving yards, and 17 touchdowns over the course of the last 3 seasons. He has had 15 drops in that span. That's the same amount as Xavier Worthy from Texas, and that's one more than Troy Franklin from Oregon, both guys that are in this class. But I think the focal point here is Malik Nabers' route win ability is that of a Diggs. His burst, his quickness, his gameplay speed is that of a Malik Nabers. Sorry, of a Malik Nabers. I mean, that's kind of my comp. Initially, my comp was literally Malik Nabers, but it's that of Jamar Chase. And the point of the recap here with Malik Nabers is not to try and say Malik Nabers is better than Marvin Harrison and have a hot take. The point is to address the conversation and the elephant in the room. Just because groupthink says Marvin Harrison Jr. is number 1, and if you go against it, you're wrong. Marvin Harrison number 1 is not gospel. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a phenomenal prospect, but you must watch the tape yourself. Come away with your own takeaways. Roma Dunze, if we're being honest, deserves to be closer to this conversation as well. But Malik Nabers is an elite, top-tier prospect that will succeed in the NFL and will break out earlier than Marvin Harrison Jr. in the NFL. And he's the most guarantee at the wide receiver position in 2024. Follow along at RosterWatch on Twitter. Follow along at RosterWatch on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. We love you. RosterWatch.com. Go over there, become a pro or a premium member right now. I appreciate you guys. I love you. We'll be back later this afternoon, actually, with a live show between me and Alex Dunlap. We're going to be doing a lot more live shows here at RosterWatch. So stay tuned in, stay tapped in. Until next time, see ya.